Hi, hello. Today we are going to be redesigning the oldest character I have on file. First off, here's the original image I'm basing the design after, so we're all on the same page. Cool? Cool. I don't know how many of you know that before I was on DeviantArt, and certainly before YouTube, I was posting to my Facebook, whether that be in groups or on my personal profile, whatever. It was my main platform from 2015 to early 2016, so it would have been about 9 or 10. There you can find some of my oldest digital art. This girl was one of my very first OCs that I used for maybe a year or so, if that, before giving up. She's the first drawing on my Facebook, which makes sense considering when I was young, I remember being really proud of the initial design and the original drawing as a whole. For a bit of background, most of my first characters were designed and based in some kind of fandom. The big three I was involved in at the beginning were My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, Five Nights at Freddy's, and Warrior Cats. Warriors, I guess it's just called. But the one we're going to be focusing on is Five Nights, because, of course, that's what this girl is based on. She was made to be my version of Freddy. I also had my own versions of Foxy, Bonnie, and Chica, but this was the oldest one I could find an exact date for, and I wanted at least a year. Because she was set in the Five Nights universe, she was supposed to be all animatronic and evil and metal and stuff, whatever. However, when redesigning her, I couldn't really make up my mind whether I wanted to, stick with that or not. I think in the end I decided not animatronic simply because I don't do a lot of fandom-related work anymore. In the original drawing, the design I'm redoing is on the right, and on the left it's supposed to be the toy version of her. I did take notes from the toy version, such as the implied snarky evil personality, as well as the circle, the rosy red cheeks. However, that was essentially it, since I wanted to stick with something closer to the first classic design from the character that was based in the first game. I did try to at least stay true to the original design as much as I could. I still gave her her bow tie, her hat, and the navy blue her original design had. I debated between giving her the hair from the original, but I ended up going with the spike things instead. But I did keep her weird bangs and her tail fluff that was also in the original design. I did have to base a lot of my knowledge of her design off of memory, since there was there's hardly any drawings of her anywhere, at least not that I have in my possession. One of my main problems with her original design is her colors. The details of the design and her accessories look completely random. The purple bow tie, the red hat, the green eyes, and the blue everything else, and all in this sort of MS Paint dull icky tone. I kinda hate it, so I made her main color that navy blue, and I changed all her details and accessories to be red or black. This gave me a great excuse to make her eyes red like a goddamn edgelord. Red is one of my favorite colors to shade and highlight, simply because I love using purple and yellow for my shading. Those colors on top of Med just make it look so rich and vibrant. I love it. And it shows up really well here, especially on the bow. I also gave her a cane. She did not have a cane in her original design. I felt like she needed it just to maybe balance her weight or add something else to it. I put a random red stripe at the bottom of her cane just to tie it in with her other accessories. I also made her spikes the same icy white color as her bangs, just again to tie it in with everything else. One of my main things about this design, the revamp of her design, is that I didn't want these colors to seem random. By far, one of my biggest struggles with this piece was the fucking wings. She was originally a dragon, so I wanted to stick with that, which meant I had to add wings, otherwise she would just look like some weird lizard. And at pretty much every stage of the process, the wings were an afterthought. During the coloring stages especially, I was just trying my best to push the wings back, just to make sure that they don't take any attention from everything else. Though, honestly, you shouldn't do that. Like, you should, if you have to include some element, you should be able to, like, work it in somehow instead of fighting against it. And that was probably a big mistake on my part, but overall, I think I made it work somehow, and I don't hate it as much as I thought I would. Like, with the wings, there was even, like, a sketch version of where they were just smaller, and there were two versions of the smaller ones. Ones where the wings were disconnected from her back, and another where the wings were, like, kind of hidden behind her shoulders. And I like, gave, my friends, like, my friends and my brother, the two versions, the bigger wings that you see in the final product, and the smaller, sketch ones. And pretty much everyone said to go with the bigger ones, so I went, okay, I guess you're here now. So I guess that's another piece of advice. If you don't know what to do with a drawing, or if you're stuck on this one, like, option, then, like, ask someone else what they think. Because, I mean, 2-3 minds is better than one, right? Her name is probably one of the most unfortunate things about her as a character. Her name is, you're not ready for this, y'all. Her name was Envy. It came from, like, classic peer pressure and cringy childhood me. At the time I made her, I was making this, like, weird push to go by my middle name, which is Ivy, and would name all my characters that or something else related to that. And Zoe, a close friend of mine that also has a YouTube channel, picked up on this and brought it up to me and demanded I changed, like, her name to something else. So my, like, small 9-year-old brain just switched the I for on to get it out of the way. So, I have a challenge for y'all. If you can think of a better name for this girl, which should not be hard, comment your idea below and I'll pin the one I like best. And here we are at the end of the video. I thank you for watching, have a good morning, happy 2020, and I'll see y'all later. Or maybe I won't.